All right, we are back to read more of the White Stallion of Lipizza. Today we are going to read chapter 7, Visitors from Styria. Held in the spell of the morning, Hans lagged home. He was not the same boy who had left the house a few hours ago. He had glimpsed another universe, and things could never be the same again. Questions were spinning around in his head. If only someone could give him the answers. With his hand on the latch to the kitchen, he hesitated. He heard strange voices within. He started to turn away, but his mother had seen his shadow through the starched white curtain and opened the door wide. "Hans!" she cried. "See who is here, all the way from Styria. You remember Tante Lena and Uncle Otto?" Hans remembered only vaguely. When he was a little boy, he had visited them on their farmland, bordering the Alps. Most of what he remembered was a plump Haflinger mare that let him trot and gallop her bare back. He nodded to his aunt and uncle, who were sitting in the company places at the table, and gave them a faraway smile. He didn't trust his voice, not yet. "Well, Hans," his father prompted, "shake hands and give a greeting." "Oh, good day," Hans said in a breathy voice he hardly knew as his own. Then, to be polite, he added, "How is your Haflinger?" Uncle Otto laughed, deep and hearty. "Ach, Hans," Tante Lena chided, "do you think nothing but horses?" What do you guys think? Do you think he thinks of anything besides horses? I don't think he does. "Leave him alone," the uncle said. "He's dreaming." He turned his big jutty nose towards the stove with nostrils quivering like a bird dog, and he sniffed the paprika goulash stewing in its own juice. The table was set for Sunday dinner, and everyone sat waiting for Hans to join them, waiting, too, for a full account of what he had seen. "First, hang up your jacket," his mother said to Hans. Hans was glad of an excuse to go upstairs. He took as long as possible. When he came back down, clouds of steam were rising from the table, and every plate was mounded with goulash and dumplings. "Well, boy," Uncle Otto asked, "can you tell us now?" Everything that Hans wanted to say seemed locked deep inside him. Helplessly, he looked at his father and stammered, "Oh, Papa, it was a sight." Tante Lena was pinning her napkin in place. "I've seen pictures of the palace hall," she prompted. "The chandeliers, Hans, I understand they have 20,000 crystal drops. Do you think that could be true? And whoever cleans them?" I don't know. "Were they lighted on a bright day like this?" she persisted. I don't know. "Was there music?" the mother asked. Oh, yes, Mama." "Was it a big orchestra?" I don't know. I think it was hidden." "Come now," Uncle Otto said, knifing a drop of his gravy from his vest. "What in heaven's name did you see?" Now Hans found his voice. "I saw the horses, but I did not see how it was done." "How what was done?" the two men asked in unison. "Papa, Uncle Otto, how do the riders make the stallions prance in one spot? How do they make them fly without wings? How do they make them jump on their hind legs?" There was no stopping him now. "The horses even walk different on springs. And why is it called the Spanish riding school? And why—" "One question," the father said, "I can answer." Hans put his fork down. "Yes?" "The name is Spanish because the horses are Spanish," the father replied. "That much I know. The first ones came from Spain." "Do they still come from there?" Uncle Otto took a gulp of coffee and set his cup down with satisfaction. "I can answer that, Hans. The Lipizzaers now come from the Piper stud farm in the mountains right near us." Hans bolted his mouth full of meat. "Then why," he asked, "are they called Lipizzaers?" There was an embarrassed silence. Finally, Uncle Otto dismissed the question with a wave of his fork. "One thing more I know," he said, taking a second helping of goulash. "The riding school, Hans, was built for royalty, for the nobility who have the time to ride and study and learn. Not," he added with a wagging finger, "for the likes of bakery boys." Hans's happiness was undimmed. He finished his dinner, and without knowing what it was, he ate. So he's so excited, he doesn't even remember what he was eating. Do you guys remember what he was eating? Goulash. That night he lay wide-eyed in the darkness. He had so much to think about. Without knowing it, his uncle had struck a note of hope. If the Spanish court riding school was built for people who had time to study and learn, he would find the time. And Fraulein Morgan at the library would help him. Suddenly she loomed bright as a Christmas tree angel. Tomorrow night he would begin. And that's the end of chapter 7.